Oh, some sadness, I guess, today. Well, earlier on this morning, um, caused by that storm last night or yesterday, which is pretty much it's still going now. But this morning, this is the scene that I was faced with. I mean, there's several sunflowers in the garden. This was one of them that suffered at the hands of Storm Ellen. Have you just? I mean, it's basically at a right angle. This plant, and that's not very natural. Plants grown at that type of angle. But if you look here, I learned a lesson, and the garden's been teaching me quite a few lessons recently. But this is one of the key ones. Like a terrible error there, mistake. I mean, I'm a complete noob at gardening anyway. But look at this, the way the sunflower's been attached to the wooden pole there, with sort of like a metal wire to keep it nice and sort of tight. But as I've found out, this only sort of restricts the plant's growth. As it grows, it sort of digs into it, and then when it fell on that weakened part of the stem, and that was just. Although I've put it back together again, and I've taken that off, and I've banned the use of these wire um, fasteners in future. So that sunflower is hopefully going to make a full recovery. But elsewhere in the garden, the this big one here just like toppled over. I mean, because of the wind, thankfully it had not been attached in the same way. So it was just a plant pot that had fallen over because it's on the garden sort of like on a slight decline, so sort of slight slope, and then a bit of gust of wind and wallop into the what's going on there? I don't know what there is there. Well, there you go. There's some rosemary there and other stuff. So and yeah, there's some apples. So yeah, it was a little bit of destruction, and then maybe it was a little bit prophetic, but Ricky Hatton. I've got this is the scene I found. Obviously, you've got Lance with his new head that he's grown there. You've got Diego there looking stocky, stout and proud. And then I looked over across at Lance, and I was like, "Where's his head? His head's gone. His bloody head's. He's lost his head. His head. He's been KO'd. One punch, one fight, KO. I couldn't believe it. So there's a little bit, after the whole, all the politics yesterday, and just like the tension between Ricky and. By the way, there's this new guy. I don't know who he is, or she. It could be. They all seem to be male. These drug taking athletes. But yeah, I didn't realise because these have been separated now. You've got Ricky there minus his head, and now you've got this fella, and that's what was given Ricky is really buff, sort of stature, because he was actually two in one, and then I noticed these red plants growing underneath, and I was like, what's going on here? And because I know nothing about garden, I did a little bit of investigating. And I'll talk about that in a sec. But basically, Ricky's lost his head. He got KO'd, one blow by the wind, and it was all over for him. I don't know how long a sunflower carries on living without its head, or whether it's even necessary. But we'll find out. But yeah, clean off. Look at that. Absolutely shocking. And I was like, well, where is it? Where's his head gone? And I found it at the bottom of Diego. How suspicious is that? There it was. Absolutely bonkers. I mean, yeah, exactly. I'm thinking the same thing. A hit job. A hit job from the. They're in there somewhere. The beefy tomato with the beef tomatoes. Where are you? They're somewhere in there. You can't because they're just shrouded. They've got protection, but they're in there somewhere. That speaks to the fact that it was, it's a professional. You don't do that. You know what I mean? That's the type of thing you see in Sopranos, where you open a box, you get delivered a package for me. Oh, who's been so thoughtful? You open it, and it's like the head of your pet pig, or you know what I mean, or a thumb from your best friend. It's just, you know what I mean, just detaching parts cleanly and delivering them. You know what I mean, and that speaks of the type of, it's almost Viking like, this type of behavior. So it's just weird, the way. I did find Ricky was sort of slumped. I've made him straight now, but originally he was slumped over into these two guys, and because I've attached Lance and Diego quite really in a nice way to the shed. You can't see it either, but there's just one sort of shoelace that holds them securely together, and they've got breathing room to grow and get fatter. So yeah, it was sad. That was sad, and almost. I don't know. Maybe he was sort of throwing his weight around a bit too much and lost his head. He didn't have to lose his head for it though. I thought it was a bit unnecessary, that. So I will be following up leads, but I'm not. I don't think they'll ever amount to anything. Yeah, you know what I mean. Look at the glory days. Look how proud he was of himself. Sad end. You know what I mean? And look at him now. Oh God. Well, it's fate for you. It's just destiny, I guess. But anyway, on to these thinking about these red flowers here. I was like, what are these red flowers? Sunflowers don't have red flowers. And I looked a bit closer, and I noticed that I was a fly there, fly my finger. And I noticed that, look, like these like vine-like, viney vines, were like cables, almost like someone was laying down some cable, or laying down some broadband internet on these plants, and that's the thing that made me think I'm not a fan of plants that use other plants to climb up on, and then you're just like, oi, what are you doing? Climbing all over these plants. Get your own stem. Get your own stem instead of using someone else's stem, and then you just go to chop them down. Actually, looks a bit like some sort of friendly tortoise or terrapin. A dinosaur, like little dinosaur, nibbling at me forefinger there. But that's a bit off-putting. What was I going to say? Yeah, so yeah, plants. You've got these plants. I just can't stop looking at that. Oh, you've got these plants that produce these like fibrous, viney type vines that climb all over your other plants, and then just at the minute when you're about to chop them off, lop them off, because they were choking me sunflowers, and like my mum says, seem to be obsessed with sunflowers at the expense of all the other plants in the garden. That's not true. It's just that sunflowers are just really simple to look after. You don't take any brains. But yeah, you go to just a minute, go to lop them off. So stop choking me sunflowers. Then you notice that there's something about them. Oh, it's got a gorgeous flower. Oh, well, I can't chop this flower. Well, go ahead. You throttle my sunflowers to death. It's you look so pretty. That more than makes up for it. And I just think that's not right. Just because you got a pretty flower doesn't mean that you can go around asphyxiating other plants. I don't agree with it. But So I was just about to lop off, sever these these broadband cables, and then I realised, well, traced it. So, oh, it's coming from this ground, and I chased it up, and I noticed that these vines were connected to the red flowers, and then I looked a bit closer, and I noticed that the red flowers, the bees were loving it, were loving these red flowers, and I was like, okay, well, all right, yeah. You know what I mean? You're not just this pretty face which makes it, this beautiful sort of this beautiful appendage which makes it more difficult for me to just lop you off. Um, you've got an essential sort of role to play in the world, and you know if bees like you, then I definitely like you. So you're definitely staying. But I was still intrigued as to what was so tasty about these flowers. I didn't taste them myself, but I did think, what was that bee? What was that bee experience, and what did it taste like? What was he up to? Again, all the animals and insects. I'm assuming, well, he seemed to be male in my world, but you don't want to sort of, you just can't call creatures it, and I can't just start saying he, she, because I just don't know. Mr. B, oh dear. Mrs. B, oh god. B, a bit boring. So yeah, so this bee was tucking into this flower, and then I took a closer looked down below, and I saw this huge whopper. It was, I don't know what, well, they're clearly beans, and that's a big, massive dock-off pod. But so then this viney type vine plant that was strangling the sunflowers and able to befriend bees was also bearing these massive bad boys. Whoa, look at them. I didn't pick it off, and just left it there, and informed management that they were present. Obviously, clearly, my mum knew everything about them. They've been there for some time, and I just learned that, yeah, the red flowers are, it's like some sort of pea plant. So that was a further sort of lesson that I learned. So that was great. Is that it? Yeah. So that's it. Basically, the garden is full of lessons to be learned, metaphors and so on. And just to recap, yeah, the winds have blown and made the plants form right angles, which is very unnatural. It's ominous. It's not a very good sign. There's chaos and destruction, but it was all restored. The cocky and the braggarts got their comeuppance in a professional manner. So if you want to sort of carry on being majestic, don't start showing off. I don't know if that's a sort of moral. And then, even if something looks like a pest and and seems to be a threat at first, like these vines that were gonna make me feel as though the sunflowers were suffocated, they could actually be sustaining essential, fundamental features of the world that I need, and we all need to carry on and live off with these big dock-off beans here. Yeah, that's about it.